I want to talk more about this dossier story now and the strong words today from two Republican senators blasting President Trump. Joining me now, CNN senior political commentator Jennifer Granholm, the Democratic former governor of Michigan. She's still a Democrat, but not the governor. And CNN senior economics analyst Stephen Moore, who was an advisor to the Trump campaign. Good evening to both of you. Listening to that interview with Brian, what do you think?
I think he's totally right. I mean, every single campaign does opposition research. Just because you do opposition research doesn't mean that you are unearthing falsities. You are just unearthing research on your opponent. Every campaign does it. It is malpractice not to do it in this environment. And, you know, as he said, Mueller will be the ultimate arbiter of whether it's accurate or not.
What's your response, Stephen Moore?
You know, I don't have a lot to say about that, Don. I did want to talk about the speeches by the.
I will. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Trust me, we'll get to it. But you have no response to the opposition research, and it's just none. No. Interesting.
Because you know, I mean, everybody knows.
This is a good.
Right?
Why not?
I haven't been following it.
Why not?
Look, I haven't been following that story, you know, that closely.
All right. Okay, so there's no intent behind that. It's just that you, great, you don't think that you know enough to talk about it or whatever, or not versed enough, and that's very fair. So listen, the president has tweeted about this today. This is the last question. I'm going to give this to the governor. Tweeted about this recently, I should say. It says officials behind the now discredited dossier plead the Fifth Justice Department and or the FBI should immediately release who paid for it. Does it sound like the president was eager to have this news
Oh my God,
of course. Do you think it was coordinated like Brian said?
Of course. I mean, actually, Brian Fallon earlier today tweeted out something that's saying, sounds like Mueller is getting close, because the president continues to do what he always does, which is to throw out the shiny object, have us go chase the ball somewhere. I mean, he continues. I swear to God, he won the election. It's been over now for 10 months that he's been president. Let it go, man.
Do you wish that the Clinton campaign had been more transparent? The same question I asked Brian.
You know, I don't know anything about that either. I mean, I was working on the campaign as well on the outside, and you know, I don't know. But I think his explanation about why law firms don't reveal that kind of stuff is understandable, and it was started by Republicans.
There's a quote in the Washington Post that said one person close to the matter said that the campaign and the DNC were not informed by the law firm or Fusion GPS's role. Law firm of Fusion GPS's role. So let's move on, Steve. Let's talk about your agenda, what you want to talk about. Senators Flake and Corker, two leading Republicans, harshly condemning President Trump today. You personally know Senator Flake after helping fund his run for Congress and for Senate. What do you make of these comments?
Well, by the way, I'm also friends with Senator Corker as well. I've known him a long time as well. And look, I thought their comments were unfortunate. I've got to tell you this, that I've looked at both of their poll numbers. What hasn't been said is that Jeff Flake isn't, resigning from the Senate or not running for re-election out of protest. His numbers are horrible in Arizona. I've seen his numbers, and there's a good chance that very good chance that he was not going to get re-elected. And by the way, the same thing with Bob Corker. If you look at a lot of the Senate elections in 2016, the candidates who ran with Donald Trump won. That was Marco Rubio. That was
I understand what you're saying, but can I get to the point? Yeah. Can I get specifically?
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that there is one important point. There's now 3 senators who don't like Donald Trump very much, right? Three sitting senators: John McCain, Jeff Flake, and Bob Corker. They've all said pretty incendiary things about it. Yeah. Now, when I work on 24/7,
I understand that. It's obvious that they don't like it. I want to get to what the sentiment behind what they said.
Right. So Steve. I just want to say this. He needs their votes to pass this tax cut, right? Yeah. I mean, so that's a problem for him because, you got 3 who don't like him very much, and we need at least one of those 3 to vote for the tax cut, or it's going to go down like Obamacare.
But Senator Flake did say that he didn't think that he could run a campaign that he could be proud of, I mean, yes, his numbers are way down. I take your point. Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. But the sentiment behind what they said, Stephen, what do you think of that?
You mean what they said?
Yeah.
Look, I think there's something to what they say. Look, I admire Donald Trump, but sometimes he says things and I just kind of grab my hair and say, Donald, don't put it that way. Or, but I got to say also,
thank you for your candor, and you may not have hair any longer the longer this goes on.
But, I was for example, I was at the California Republican convention this week, and I talked to activists a lot of the time. I talked to business leaders. The anger that a lot of people on the right have is directed at Congress for not passing Trump's agenda, not at Donald Trump himself.
Yeah. What do you think?
I just think, Stephen, and I appreciate you coming back around on this, but what you said at the outset was to suggest that these two men are saying what they're saying because their poll numbers are low, as opposed to them having an honest belief that this president is a danger to democracy and is a danger to truth. And I think that discredits them. They're your friends. I'm sure you didn't mean to go that far.
Jennifer, let me just correct one quick thing. I wasn't saying that they're saying it. What I was saying is they're not running for re-election because their numbers are bad. I didn't say that this is some kind of personal.
But doesn't Corker has a chance of winning?
Flake
probably not.
Yeah, but his numbers were not great. But Jeff was way underwater, and he was going to have a very brutal primary, and then he would have had a brutal general election. A lot of people who run the senatorial committee are kind of happy that he's not running. They might be able to put somebody in that has a better chance at holding that seat.
Okay.
I was just going to say, real courage would be 14 months they've got 14 months left, and let's see what they do in the next 14 months, because it's not just running away.
True.
It's actually acting upon your belief.
People always think I'm trying to cut you guys off. I'm not. I'm just trying to move you along.
I totally get it.
Get Stephen to get to the point, and I got to get to the break and all that. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you so much. Good to see you.